Um, Chicken nuggets, one of our favorite things, right? Grew up eating chicken nuggets, and the thing was that typically when you get ordered chicken nuggets, the problem there is that since they're deep fried, the calories are really high. But you already know this, so when we use the food enjoyment matrix and we make quadrant 1 foods, right? High enjoyment and low calorie density, we can take pretty much all of our favorite things and then move them into quadrant 1. So with this, we basically take our fat content way down by using an air fryer. I've had many clients actually who have their primary meal of the day is like a pound of chicken tenders, right? So that's 100 grams of protein, give or take. And typically there's like almost zero fat. And then the only thing that you have other than the protein from the chicken is the carbs coming from the flour and the breading that we use. And that's about it. And that might be about, give or take 60-70 grams of carbs. So for less than 700 calories, you have a pound of chicken nuggets or chicken tenders, and you can lose as much fat as you want. I had a client who literally every day he would make a pound of chicken nuggets most days, and he lost about 40 pounds in 3 months. No, it was like 40 pounds in like 4 or 5 months. And here's the thing though. We always talk about reducing the friction. Friction is going to be the key of your ability to execute on something. If there's too much friction, it's not going to happen, right? The stress and the anxiety and the demand on time and energy is going to make it so that your probability of execution goes down. So that's why, I always talk about the friction index, where we're trying to decrease friction as much as possible. Now, in certain seasons of your life, so this guy was working from home for this period of time. So, it took him about 20 minutes a day to cook and prepare his chicken nuggets, or his chicken tenders. And he would then have, 2 of his meals done for the day. And then everything else was just bonus, and you just filled around that. But here's the truth, okay? So I work in our family business, as well as coach people. I've been coaching people since 2012. You already knew that, but that means I'm driving around from store to store like all day. Most of the day I'm from one store to another, to the warehouse, to blah, 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 whatever it is. So for me to have an air fryer at one of the stores and then also have my setup for you got to cut the chicken breast, you got to dip it in the flour, you got to dip it in the egg whites, and then you got to dip it in the breading. If I'm at home, there's very little friction to that. When I am, constantly moving from place to place, the friction gets high on that. So the same tool, where in one situation is amazing, in another it's not. I have had, I eat chicken tenders a lot, especially when I have more flexibility or, I'm spending more time at home. During those phases, I do that. But in this case, like, I'm not going to do that because it's going to be a mess, and I'm not in the kitchen, I'm at the store. Doesn't work out too well. So that's kind of the main thing that, we were talking about this earlier last week, but like, we don't want to get dependent on any one food, any one tool, right? Because if you are, and if you're just dependent on a particular tool and you don't understand the principles and the concepts and, like, the friction index, and then, having a bunch of keystone foods that, quadrant 1 foods, it becomes very difficult. So instead, we take a look at, hey, what's this week like? What's this current phase of my life look like? And then choose the tool that fits that, right? And so for somebody like myself, this is why the burrito diet is the greatest diet on the planet for most situations, right? And like I said, the video I sent you with the current method, that's the one that is the least friction, okay? Like, you literally throw you have the recipe already, but like, you throw your chicken in the Instant Pot, put some broth, put whatever else you want, press the button. 40 minutes later, you go do whatever you need to do. 40 minutes later, you got perfect chicken. You can't mess it up. And it just falls apart, it just shreds, right? And you cook 2 pounds of that, maybe 3 pounds, put it in a Tupperware. Your chicken, your protein source is good. Then in the morning, you could do it all at once, but like, I prefer each day, I just roll a couple burritos and I'm good to go. Like, that's really the key. You have a few tools and you know how to use the tools in the different situations. That's going to be the biggest thing for you, right? I think personally, if I was in your current situation right now, you just took on a bunch of new projects, plus you got to go on site, I think that the burritos is probably going to be a good tool. And then we can take out even one more layer of friction from that, right? So that same chicken in a Tupperware, it tastes so good. You could leave it in the broth. You just take that. You could grab some instant rice, little containers. Take your chicken, microwave your rice, throw it in the chicken, you're good to go. Taking another step, the link I sent you for that crock pot, the crock pot Tupperware, where now your Tupperware is the heating mechanism. It is a crock pot. So you have your chicken in there, you can put your rice in there. Now you're working, whatever, you just plug in your crock pot, it heats it up, and you're good to go. Now you don't have extra containers. You don't gotta you don't need to look for a microwave. So all these things are just decreasing the friction. They allow you to adjust and adapt to any situation that you're in. So that's kind of what I would do for this current phase. And then when we talk next, like, we can go into some of the specifics, but like,